The views and opinions expressed by the host and our guests does not state or reflect Tuda personally or the Life is Good with Tuda show. Hello. Welcome back. Life is Good with Tuda. I have my sister here with me. She's had a very, very busy, I think, last month in preparing for my niece's Sweet 16, which was fabulous, to say the least. It was fabulous. Had never been to anything like that, so that was awesome. But I do want to say, and I meant to say this when I was taping with your husband, that they will help anybody. They do. It's like, so when you see them have these things that they're doing for their kids, it's like, when do they have time? Really, when do they have time? So I do want to share this story before I ask these questions. My husband, before he's my husband, we called my brother and my sister, and we said, hey, we're thinking about getting married. We're trying to figure out dates. It's hard. So when you're looking at our dynamics of our family, trying to get 30 people, because we're going to start out, they had offered their home, started off with like 10, 15, but the list started growing because it's hard to cut people off. And so we ended up, they said, we need to find a place and we'll figure this out. So they came back with a place, a chapel that we had our wedding, and they helped us plan it in 6 weeks. Who does that? Tell me, who does that? And they found us someone to marry us. And he met with us over Thanksgiving break and talked with us. And then they met with us and counseled us a couple of times in between us telling them what we wanted and telling us, okay, this is doable. They didn't say no, or we'll see. It's doable. And so I want to thank them. Me and my husband really appreciate them. And so I don't know if I share that story with a lot of people, but I want to share that with my podcast listeners. So when I saw that last night, I just thought, this Charmaine. And Charmaine was my wedding coordinator. And she was. And throughout the program, she's directing people, making sure it's my winter wonderland wedding, which it was. And so you look back on it, it was like a wonderful day that she had her clients take us to everything. Everything was worked out. All details she had already planned out. So you can only imagine what the Sweet 16 celebration was this week. The 360.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. It don't take a lot. It doesn't take a lot. But Robert's like, babe, okay, that's a camera. Okay, I was like, this is pretty cool. This is like when you're in Hollywood. I've never seen anything like that. So I kept sending that to different people. That's like, okay. I was like, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. So I just want to say it was such a fabulous party.
Thank you.
You did an awesome job. One thing I will say, Pink, really?
Yeah. My mom's an AKA.
Pink.
She picked her sponsor, AKA, from the founding chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
So
I mean,
I
what
bother
other
her
color
with this all the time.
could it be?
That's the only thing, but no, it was beautiful, and I enjoyed every bit of it. And this was after we were stuck in the house for 2 days.
Yeah.
And then we drove to Tulsa, me and my husband, 3.5, 4 hours. And so that was such a wonderful experience for us after being in the house, not having any social interaction. But I will say to the listeners, the bad thing about this, when all the older people were getting warmed up, they kicked us out. They told us time to go. If you had a 16th birthday, you got to leave. And this is about 10 o'clock, right?
About 10. It was about 10.
And so we were like, what? Oh my gosh, this is so fun. And so the younger people wouldn't dance with us there.
That's right.
So they kicked us out and we were like, what do we do? Where do we go? And so we ended up leaving, but it was such a fun event. I hadn't moved that much in a while. So one thing you guys did say, several things, but one thing that you did bring up that I wanted to share with our listeners, the importance of being present instead of your presence. And so that was one. And then if you did want to share something financially, you shared two organizations that you wanted to, I guess, encourage people if they wanted to give a monetary donation to share with those to those groups. And Railyn was on board with that. 16-year-old now.
It was totally her idea.
That's awesome.
That had nothing to do with us.
Which is awesome.
In lieu of gifts, our daughter, your niece, it was very impressive to hear that from her, that she did not want presents. She wanted presence of people, you being there. And if you were so inclined to give anything, she wanted you to support two organizations that she really supports. One being Aim High Academy, which is near and dear to our hearts, our family, and all, as well as TS3 Foundation, which is also very near and dear to our hearts and families. And for a young lady to say, don't give me anything, take that time and give to someone else or some other organization that could help and bless others, I was impressed.
So
as her mother, I was impressed.
Tell the listeners a little bit about each one of them.
Sure. Aim High Academy. Oh gosh, I could talk about Aim High for months and days. But Aim High Academy is a local nonprofit here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and our motto is we're flipping combined with faith equals bright futures. And Aim High was started, about 13 years ago. Actually, got to be longer than that because Railyn started there when she was 2. So Aim High got to be over 18, about 18 years old at this point. And by our executive director, Jennifer, now Bjornberg, Jennifer, she started this. Jennifer was a gymnast and loved the sports of gymnastics, but she also had a heart for ministry and ministry to young people. And she used the sport of gymnastics to change the spiritual lives of young people, to put them on fire for Christ. And so the thrust of Aim High was to provide a sport, certainly, to a community in North Tulsa that may not be as familiar with the sports of gymnastics, because gymnastics is a very expensive sport.
Different.
It's very expensive. And it takes a lot. It takes a lot of discipline, takes a lot of hard work, takes a lot of preparation and practice. I mean, it is a non-traditional sport, if you would think. But now, with the rise of Simone Biles and Gabby Douglas and things like that. And now Jordan Childs, if we were watching her the other night on UCLA. You see a lot more African-American young ladies and African-American young men taking part in the sport of gymnastics. But back when Jennifer began this, gymnastics was not as much, every once in a while, Dominic Dawes.
So is it majority minority?
It was in the beginning, and we've actually broadened our reach. But when we first started Aim High, it was started in the heart of North Tulsa.
North Tulsa.
North Tulsa here. And the goal was to administer, and we only would service North Tulsa zip codes.
And North Tulsa is predominantly...
It's predominantly African-American minority population here in Tulsa. But nevertheless... Aim High has been blessed and it has grown tremendously. It is completely impacting the entire city of Tulsa. Right now, we're serving over 700 children in all phases of gymnastics. We wanted finances not to be the barrier for a young person to be able to choose a sport of gymnastics. When we initially started gymnastics, you could take one class a week for $20 a month. That's unheard of. That's unheard of to do anything, We've since expanded, but we still have a very robust scholarship program. So there are kids that go to Aim High totally free.
Right.
There are kids that go to Aim High on a very, very scholarship basis. And then we have those who are able to, according to your income, afford to pay full price to attend Aim High. But we have young people competing from the ages of 4 and 5 years old all the way to high school. One of the greatest successes of Aim High right now is a young lady. Her name is Sheridan Ramsey, and she is our first full scholarship athlete. at the
Which,
University of Oklahoma
oh, my
on one of
alma
a
mater.
national
All right.
championship gymnastics
Okay.
squad.
That's awesome.
And she started her gymnastics and has only competed for gymnastics through Aim High.
Wow.
And
That's
now
awesome.
she has a full ride scholarship at OU and is doing fabulous things. And I think, a matter of fact, I think Jennifer and a few friends are there. She's competing today. I think the OU is playing, competing against Denver. But she had her collegiate all high on vault, a 9.897.
Wow.
So, hey,
That's awesome.
these young people are doing great. Good things are coming out of North Tulsa and certainly out of Aim High. But the most important thing I think that Railyn will tell you, and certainly Rodney and I appreciate, even they also
So
do
did
young
Trey
men.
go there?
Yeah, boys and girls. All of our kids came through Aim High. Ramari,
Okay.
Trey, Railyn also. But the most important thing I think of all that Aim High did for our children was teach them at a very early age that God made them special with a purpose and a plan.
Awesome.
And at the end of every gymnastics practice or gymnastics class, they would sit together and they would gather in a circle, all the kids, and they would recite to each other, God made me special. And you had to say that in order to get your sucker, in order to get a stamp on your hand to show that you completed the class.
Wow.
And so it really, it helped in raising our children, I would say. It helped them at a very young age, from the age of 2. And any child that comes through Aim High will leave that place knowing that God made them special with a purpose and a plan. It is a much worthy charity and organization to support. So if you need, or if you want to be a part of that, aimhighacademy.org is where you want to go. It is awesome. We have 2 great fundraisers a year, Gold Medal Night, which is just a true out and out gala and fundraiser. And then we have Dream Meet, which we just finished, which is in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King. So we have a big gymnastics meet on Martin Luther King weekend here in Tulsa, where we have over 700 to 800 gymnasts come from all over around the region to Tulsa to compete. And so a lot of young people get to meet other great athletes all throughout this area and learn about the vision of Dr. Martin Luther King and participate in that gymnastics meet. It's awesome. And I love being a part of Aim High, and it certainly has been a blessing to our family.
Okay, we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back with our guest on the Life is Good with Tuda show.